Hi again. Now we're going to move to the new service development process. Um, and what you see here, you will see a chart with 5 phases. The first phase, it's similar to the product development phases, but in a different way that fits the service industry. Uh, Service industry start with innovation and ideas. So you start with the first phase, and that phase contains the techniques and tools for managing idea generation. We did talk about it, that screening different sources, screening the idea, what would be the best. The main objective of this phase is to manage the wide range of ideas and evaluate them based on business and offering strategy. So once we generate ideas, we need to select the best idea. Again, similar to what we did discuss before about the product development, but now in more specific to the service industry. Now, the second phase, which is concept planning, which means high-level planning of basic features of the service. So we're not going to look into a lot of details, very generic ideas, very generic high-level planning details. We're not going to look into a very specific details, just for the idea and the planning phase. Now, next phase would be the service development, and this phase include develop a service at a small scale and look into the detail before offering it to the customer. So we say, okay, if I want to open a restaurant, so I maybe find the best meal that I could cook and then provide that to, at a small scale to my friends and ask them their opinion. Keep in mind that every phase here on the right side here, where you see the testing, the value, we're testing the value at the beginning, and then we capture the value in the middle, and we maximize the value by the end. So, and the service development, that would be the small scale, which we call it as a prototype in the product development. And then in the business model phase, we include the service market introduction and commercialization for the service in the market and customer segmentation. So we need to look into target what customers. So that would be include pricing, personalization, and providing maybe concepts such as the profit, the ROI, maybe in this phase, considering the SWOT analysis in this phase as well, and these kind of things. So if we need to customize it or not. Service implementation and delivery, that would be develop the service, are implemented locally and globally. So now it's offered to the market in the global. So something that we should consider again here, is in the business model, is don't forget about the financial analysis part, and what you should consider is the ROI and the payback period and these kind of things, because these are important in the business model. Now here, another thing that we should consider when we align that service with our company is, of course, you have the corporate objectives, the competitive position, source of advantage, customer segmentation. And in the first phase, first step, you will see the custom research, employee research, and operational analysis. And then this is where basically the idea generation. Then you could look into the competitor and benchmarking standards. So look into the competitors if they have something similar. And then in step 3, you decide to what action to take, and then do the initial service design of the service, which is, we did call it the prototyping and the product development, or we call it as a service development. That's a small scale here. And then verify design with customers. So now we need to involve the customer, saying, okay, this is what we have. Do you need it? Is that what you're looking for? Modify the design based on what the customer need, and then design measurements and metrics for monitoring. So you keep that in mind, that you need to control the phase by using the KPIs for the service. What is this? It's similar to what we did here, but it provides a different perspective, where here These are the generic phases for service introduction, introducing service to the market. This one, we need to modify the service based on the customer service. Now, things that we could do in service is something called blueprinting, which is a chart that will help you to launch that service. Developing a new service based on the subjective ideas contained in the service concept can lead to costly trial and error efforts to translate the concept into reality. So it's not easy to launch a product. We need to consider that a lot of planning before we launch a service. Something we use is called service mapping, or blueprinting is a tool for forming and creating the flow chart for that particular service. So let's say, like, you have a service, you creating the flow chart for it, you creating the floor map for it, basically. And that's include the points of customer contact, the evidence of service from customer point of view. We'll share with you on how that's going to look like, and it's important because you will help you to reach to the zero defects culture. It will help you with concept development and marketing testing. You'll be able to do some service recovery strategy, and it's important because it's used by human resources, service marketers, system technology, and operations managers. So it's all about that, making clear of the objectives on what service is available for us. What I want to do here, instead of just going over this, I'm going to jump to here. That's what a blueprint for a service look like. So you have the physical evidence. This is where the customer action, that's the line of interaction, as you see. This is the line of visibility. And then right here, that's the backstage, where behind the scenes, and this is the support process. So let's take a look into this blueprint for overnight hotel stay. If I'm going to design this service, let's use this blueprint to design it. And basically, you're looking into that from a customer perspective. So you start with a parking, arrive at the hotel, give bags to bill person, check in, go to room, receive bags, sleep, shower, call room service, receive food, eat, check out, and leave. So these are what the typical customer do in a hotel. Now, what is the physical evidence for that? So if we say arriving at a hotel, that would be the parking lot. If we give the bags to the bill person, that would be the physical evidence, would be the cart and bags. And then check-in, that would be the desk registration, lobby, key, and so on. So you look into each one of these actions and you put some physical evidence related to that. And now moving into the interaction stage, where the employees will interact with a customer. So now here what you do, once the customer give the bag to the bill person, greet and take bags. For the check-in, we have to start the process registration, and nothing we have to do here from the point of view of the employee. Receive bags, this is where you have to deliver the bag, and then deliver food, process, checkout. Now, as you see here, your interaction as an employee for the customer's action. And now in the back stages, this is what some of the behind the scenes that you will do. They take bags to the room. This is something behind the scenes. Take food order. Now this is where the customer, when they call it, and then they will have to do the go to the kitchen to support it. This is where we have the supporting process in system registration using the system. So this is what a blueprint look like. Another example for the blueprint would be here, example of a service blueprint for a shoe shine service. So we have, from a customer perspective, what we have to do, brush, these are the activities. And what we did, we added some time as well. That would be very helpful as well from operations management perspective. So brush shoe, apply polish, buff, collect payment, and you time it. And now what is seen by customer is clean shoes. There's some failing points that you should consider because you probably having the wrong wax. So you consider some failing points in that as well. And then the material, what they see, that's the line of visibility. This is not seen by the customer. So all of these top on the top here is seen by the customer. And here's sometimes, again, it's important to have some failing points if needed. And not seen by the customer is select and purchase supplies. This is a very simplified chart that will help you to do the blueprinting. Also, what I want to do here, I would just want to summarize what you need to do to build your blueprint. So in order to do the blueprint, what you have to do first, identify the process to be blueprinted, identify the customer or customer segment, so what the steps that the customer have to do, map the process from customer point of view, map contact employees actions. So now what the interaction between employees and the customer on stage and backstage, link customer and contact person activities to the needed support functions, add evidence of service at each customer action, isolate fail points, and last one, the last step is to establish a time frame. All right, so I hope this is helpful. I think I'm done here for this chapter. Please let me if you have any questions. I did skip a few slides here because I did not want to talk about complexity and the degree of standardization, but that's something also that you should consider, how complex is your service should be. So here's an example, a good example of structural alternatives for a restaurant, how detailed, for example, let's pick one of these process. If you want to have a salad, its current process is 4 choices. Maybe you could individually, if you need to have a high complexity, you have to have individually prepared a table. For the entry, maybe you have 15 choice, lower complexity with 4 choices, versus if the high complexity would be expand to 20 choices. So take a look into that level of complexity. Also will help you to offer the service and how complex you need the service to be to offer to the customer. With that said, I'd like to thank you so much, and that's the end of the video for this chapter. Thank you.